And
Yeah, but
recording.
we're a little early.
No, I have 6:58, we're a little early.
Should we s-
6:58, we're early,
Yeah,
right?
59.
60 seconds.
In that case, hello.
I think 111 inches is a nice one.
Behind the times and
Can't start before that rush of people that comes in at the last time.
You're
9
very,
foot 3
maybe
inches,
somebody,
you're very
do
patient,
something,
Andrew.
God forbid.
111 inches, I'm thinking that's a nice round.
Much pot never boils.
They do. The deck,
I'll just go over there.
you could do that too, but the deck's only 6 foot wide. Do I need to document it, take pictures of the tape
Please,
measure?
like, actual, yes.
Well,
No.
I'm take a picture and email it to you.
Sometimes takes, you think I could.
The other end is.
Okay, now I will bring the Plan Commission to order, 7 o'clock. Notice has been duly posted. Roll call,
Mayor Joel Chilson,
present.
Jim Benash.
Here?
Jared Holter,
Here.
Jan Brock, Paul Gleason,
Here.
Knut Temte,
Present.
Craig Brightsprecher,
Here.
Stephen Knott.
Present.
Okay, we will, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alder Brightspecker, seconded by, Commissioner Brightspecker, seconded by Alder Banash to approve the minutes. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? So moved. Public input. Anyone wishing to give public input may step to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes. Second call, anyone wishing to give public input. Third and final call, anyone wishing to give public input. That portion is now closed. Consideration possible action on the following items. A public hearing approximately 7 p.m. Consideration of a conditional use permit application to allow construction of a automobile dealership/vehicle sales/repair facility at 331 Theater Road on Alaska, Wisconsin 54650, submitted by Philip Branson of Maury's Automotive Group, 12520 Wayzata Boulevard, Minnetonka, Wisconsin 55305, on behalf of Don Weber, Weber Holdings LLC, 328 Front Street South, La Crosse, Wisconsin 54601, tax parcel number 18-3568-36. Katie?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to construct a new light motor vehicle sales and service facilities, Maury's Audi VW, to be located at 331 Theater Road in Onalaska. The development would include approximately a 25,000 square foot facility, which will contain office, retail, a showroom, architectural display elements, a car wash, and service facilities. On-site parking will be provided for new inventory, used car inventory, customers, employees, service vehicles, and loaner vehicles. The building architecture will include an aluminum composite material, ACM, masonry, and a glass curtain wall. Hours of operations for sales, service, and maintenance will be from 6:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. Parts and vehicles deliveries will occur daily with multiple parts and vehicles throughout the day. The vehicles performing said service will vary from a full 53-foot trailer trucks to box trucks and vans. Sale of vehicle repairs, etc. on a parcel in the light industrial district is permitted only by a conditional use permit per section 13-5-16 parent G and pursuant to the standards set forth in section 13-8-11. The city has no basis for denial of the conditional use permit, but has found the basis to impose the following conditions. Condition number 1, owner developer shall pay all fees and have all plans reviewed and approved by the city prior to obtaining a building permit Owner developer must have all conditions satisfied and improvements installed per approved plans prior to issuance of occupancy permits. Substantial evidence. This condition provides notice to the owner developer that they are to follow procedure for orderly development in the city of Onalaska in order to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the city. Condition number 2. All conditions on with the land and are binding upon the original developer and all heirs, successors, and assigns so long as the conditional use is being actively used. Substantial evidence. This condition acknowledges and provides public notice of the term and puts the owner, developer, and future owners on notice that they are bound by the conditions and that they can continue the use for as long as they follow the conditions and actively use the conditional use. Condition number 3. Owner developer shall abide by the city's ordinances, Unified Development Code, and building code requirements as amended. Substantial evidence. This condition assures that the owner developer understands that they must follow the city's Unified Development Code and building code, which they are required to follow in every way, and as that they are receiving the benefit of being allowed to have a use that is not within the standards of the city's zoning code, failure to follow city ordinances may result in loss of their conditional use permit. Condition number 4. The conditional use permit shall be reviewed every 5 years to ensure continued use. Substantial evidence. This shifts the burden to the owner of the property to provide proof that the use is active and continuing. Ensuring that existing permits are still valid and being properly used ensures compliance with the city's procedures and ordinances and promotes interaction and communication with the city, which further orderly develop and the health, safety, and welfare of the city. Action requested. As a public hearing will be held, testimony based upon substantial evidence from the public should be listened to and considered before deciding on the requested conditional use permit application. Only where no reasonable conditions could exist to allow the conditional use may a conditional use permit be denied.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go into the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the conditional use permit?
Good evening. My name is Philip Branson. I am the real estate director for Maury's Automotive Group, located at 12520 Wayzata Boulevard, Minnetonka, Minnesota, 55305. And with me tonight is the project architect, Brandon Grease, Grease Architectural Group from Neenah, Wisconsin, and then also our newly appointed general manager, Ryan Christie, who is the general manager right now at the La Crosse location. As you all likely know, we currently operate the Volkswagen and Audi dealership in La Crosse. When we bought that about a year ago in September, we always plan on relocating that business to another location. If you've ever been by that location, clearly 331 Theater Road will be a much needed improvement for our operations and just all around use of the dealership. So what we're proposing is to build a 25,000 square foot footprint, two-story building on 331 Theater Road, pending a favorable conditional use permit application. As we have in our application, include the showroom, service departments, offices, everything you would expect from a full-service dealership. So we're very excited to build in your community and would certainly look forward to any questions you guys may have for either myself, the project architect, or the general manager. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else wishing to give public input? Second call, anyone wishing to give public input? Or, excuse me, speak to the, in favor. Third call, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the conditional use permit? That portion is now closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition. Second call, those wishing to speak in opposition. Third call, those wishing to speak in opposition. That portion is now closed. The public hearing is closed. What is the wish of the commission?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit application to allow the construction of an automotive dealership for Maury's of Automotive Group with the 4 conditions.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Alder Banash, seconded by Commissioner Breitspacher to approve the conditional use permit for Maury's with the 4 listed conditions. Discussion. Mr. Gleason.
I have a question, and I think I'm going to direct it to Jared to start out with. I'm looking at the site plan sheet number C 3.01, and I see a notation along the right side of the sketch that, although it's small, I think it says existing property boundary, and then some gap going west, and it says proposed property boundary. Is a larger parcel being divided here? Do we have a certified survey map?
There was a discussion of to whether or not they would be shifting the parcel boundary, and a parcel boundary shift does include a CSM, but it's reviewed by city staff. It's not a true subdivision. What is shown is a 50-foot, which is not a conforming lot, so if an application was created, the city would deny the request. So if they do want to move the boundary, that would be reviewed during the site plan review process. This project is currently being reviewed by city staff in tandem with the application.
So does this application then for a CSM apply to the entire parcel,
It does apply to the entire parcel,
including that?
and if
arrow
the line
strip?
does shift, it would also apply to that portion of the parcel, because it would be a newly enlarged parcel if that were to occur, or decreased if that was what they chose to do.
Now you confused me. The parcel is larger now, and it's potentially going to get smaller.
Correct. Sorry, I misspoke. By reducing it, it's still for the full parcel of land.
Okay, and what would happen to that 50-foot strip?
The intent is that it would go to the property to the east.
Would be sold to the property owner to the east?
Yes.
Okay, but we're approving, this application for a conditional use permit is for the entire parcel at this point in time.
Correct.
Okay,
Because that has not occurred yet.
okay.
I'm going to ask,
I have some clarification on that. The property, we will submit an application to subdivide and move that property boundary west. The owner to the east and of our property is Don Weber. He owns both parcels, so he'll add the remainder over to his property.
Okay.
thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, Jan.
Just two questions. I didn't understand. What is a light motor vehicle sales? Does that just mean no trucks? Or, I'd never heard that before. No trucks? Okay. And secondly, is there some, I assume it's in our codes that they need to mitigate like oil and things like that they would dispose of correctly?
As per the use, yes.
Okay, anyone else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions? So moved. Item 5, review and consideration of an annexation application of tax parcel number 9-13-5 and Crestwood Lane right-of-way, 26.17 acres, and a portion of tax parcel number 9-23-0.12 acres, 5,382 square feet, total of 26.29 acres, filed by Jacob Birch Logistics Development Group, LLC, 2102 State Road 16, La Crosse, Wisconsin 54601, and on behalf of J.D. Mansky Family Holdings, LLC, 4333 Sheboygan Avenue, number 320, Madison, Wisconsin 54705. Katie.
Thank you. The annexation petition includes the extension of Crestwood Lane from Nathan Hills Estates, where Crestwood Lane is presently in the city of Onalaska, through the cul-de-sac area to tax parcel number 9-35-5, and also a portion of tax parcel 9-23-0, approximately 5,382 square feet, which is directly adjacent to Crestwood Lane and Crestwood Place. The existing zoning for these parcels are rural, no conditions. Neighborhood characteristics include surrounding single-family residential, agricultural land, and blufflands. The comprehensive plan identifies this area as being in the environmentally sensitive district and environmental corridor land use areas. The comprehensive plan identifies review criteria for annexations of which the following are applicable. Cities should approve proposals for annexation into the city of Onalaska only when meeting the following utilities and community facilities criteria or if other important community goals are met. The annexation area is in an area designated for growth on the city's future land use plan, which it is, and the increased tax base and overall benefit to the city of approving the annexation outweigh the actual financial impact on the community for providing police, fire, road maintenance, and other public improvements and services to the annexation area. To give background on this particular project, the purpose for annexing 9-13-5 in Crestwood Lane is the property owner Logistics Development Group LLC is intending to move forward with a single-family residential development and will provide utilities for said development through the Crestwood Lane right-of-way. Subsequent applications regarding this parcel will include a planned unit development and also the final plat and preliminary plat processes for review and consideration by the Plan Commission and Common Council. The purpose for annexing the 5,382 square foot, more or less, portion of tax parcel -923-0, the J.D. Mansky Family Land Holdings LLC, is that the city intends to enter into a development agreement with the property owner to obtain the land in question and construct a booster station as a means to provide water service to this area. The land in tax parcel -9-35-5, Logistics Development Group, that portion, and also the French Valley area. City staff support this annexation request. Approval is recommended with the attached conditions of approval, and there are 4 today.
Okay, thank you, Katie. What is the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve the annexation application of tax parcel number 9-13-5 and Crestwood Lane right-of-way, and a portion of tax parcel 9.23-0. Total 26.29 acres, with the 4 conditions.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Alderman Minaj, seconded by Commissioner Brightspecker to approve the annexation application, tax parcels number 9-13-5 and 9-23-0 for a total of 26.29 acres, filed by Jacob Birch Logistics Development Corporation, LLC, with 4 conditions. Did you want to say something, Jared? Okay. Commissioner Brightspecker.
You're going to have to.
I was just getting ready.
Jared, do you see any ghosts we need to be aware of here with this annexation? And Chief, I'm going to ask you the same thing next, but
Well, currently, we're working with the developer and adjacent developers on a plan for city utilities, water and sewer service for this area. As you can see, part of the annexation does include a small portion of land from the J.D. Mansky Holdings for a proposed booster station. There is work included in the 2019 proposed capital improvement budget to install the booster station. We're going to look at that booster station serving a total of 304 acres. Eventually, set up an assessment district for those water improvements. Try and get those installed next year. The developer is looking at trying to build their improvements next summer. As you know, this adjoins the French Valley parcel. That would also, this would loop the water main into that parcel and allow them to have water service to the booster station. It would also allow the Mansky parcel, which is the farm field right adjacent to this area, would also allow that to be available for future development if it's so moved forward that way. We would have water service to that area too as part of that 304 acres. We are working through some, the developer's working through stormwater. The stormwater does go downstream to the French Valley development. He's been working with that adjacent landowner to look at a system of stormwater conveyance that would be mutually beneficial to both. So they are still in negotiations on how they're going to do that, if that's going to work out. The roadway would connect into the proposed development in French Valley, would be stubbed to the property line, so we'd have a looped road system going through there. We will have, the boost station will have a fire pump in it, be able to pump 1,500 gallons a minute, so we would be able to have fire protection in the neighborhood. There is some unusual topography in the area, so there's some steep slopes where it falls off from the roadway surface. This is all things that will get discussed at the preliminary plat when it comes in. We are looking at some non-typical road cross sections and how that will turn out, as we've done in some other locations within the city. And those things, but more of those things will come up as part of the preliminary plat. I think what we have is this annexation today. I think it'll be serviceable as you see it. It's just going to have a few difficulties along the way. It's not a standard flat development.
Overall, you see this as beneficial.
Yeah.
Okay. Chief, have you been out there and looked at this, and are there any flags going up for you as far as, and I know it's a little, I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball because we don't know what this is all going to develop into, but
I am familiar with the area. I have gone out and looked at that area. As Jared said, topography is going to be a challenge with our apparatus. We do have one apparatus that is four-wheel drive. It was purchased specifically for that. Certainly we have other neighborhoods. Without knowing exactly what they're looking at considering, again, we get into the crystal ball. However, I would say this, anytime you continue to expand, and I'm all about smart growth and bring more into the city, but as we get further and further out, just know that increases our response times from this location. So one of the things that I would certainly be considering is working with a developer for structures. I am a strong advocate of sprinkler systems as well as residential sprinkler systems. In many cases, that's the first firefighter in the city. So if we have adequate water supply and fire pumps, and we have residential sprinklers, that reduces my stress level quite a bit.
understood. Thank you, and we've heard that before, so, yep. Thank you both.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor? Yes. Did you want to, Paul?
I had one question. In looking at the annexation and as best I could piecing together the other city boundaries around it, aren't we creating an island?
So that's an interesting question that we actually just discussed with the DOA today. We had actually left a 5-foot strip along the roadway right away, and we were informed today to take it out. So we're going to be redoing the map that you see currently. That's Exhibit A. If you look at Exhibit A in your packet today, actually it's, you don't have that one. So Exhibit A along the Crestwood Lane area. So the map, Exhibit A. In this area here along Crestwood Lane and Crestwood Place, there was a 5-foot strip left to connect it to. And the DOA said that this is already a town island. It's just we'd be making into 2 more smaller town islands. So they recommended that we remove the 5-foot strip and just get all of the road right-of-way annexed, was their recommendation today. And that's what will come forward in the letter from the DOA with their recommendation.
And with that, there would not be a town island?
There's already a town island there, they stated, because it's already up against the city of Onalaska and the town of Hamilton. So the island that's there would just be broken into 2 smaller islands, which is what they recommended we do. I had the same puzzled look you did, Paul.
I think the idea he had stated was that they didn't want to create a balloon on a string, an island within an island. So it's just easier to divide the said island into 2. So,
Okay, well, I'm not sure I understand it yet, but if DOA blesses it,
straight from the, I brought in Jared to make sure I was interpreting it correctly.
Okay.
So,
okay?
Paul? This is the area that there, and you will, and there is going to be an island like that, like you show. Okay. All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Abstentions? So moved. Item 6. Update on the Unified Developmental Code zoning ordinance rewrite project. Katie?
Thank you. So as you know, the city has been working with HKGI to update our Unified Development Code. Included in the packet is a memorandum from our lead project manager, Jeff Miller. I'm not going to go through it verbatim. I assume you've had an opportunity to look at it. In general, at the beginning, it lists out the different organizations that city staff and also our consultants met with, had feedback from. We also took them on a tour of the city related to different areas of development and zoning issues that have been identified by staff over the past few years. Listed there 1 through 24 are essentially the major common themes that we received from developers. So summarizing are making the development procedure easier, reducing timing requirements. Some can be overly complex and cause delays. The annexation procedure could be time-consuming and challenging. Obviously, reactions to Act 67 with conditional use permits, making sure that the city's vision is consistent, simplifying the code overall, taking out references to applications, so then as city staff streamline our applications, we don't have to go back to the code and change it every time. Every time we make a change to our zoning ordinance, it takes 4 to 5 months. So we're trying to find ways of reducing that complex review cycle if at all possible. Providing more administrative tools instead of having making sure everything that we do send to the Plan Commission is relevant and it's relevant to your time. Things that could potentially not necessarily include Plan Commission review every time would be temporary tent approvals. If people keep coming back year after year and you keep seeing the same things every year, is that something that needs to come to the Plan Commission, or is that something that staff can manage? So trying to look at time savings in terms of that. Residential land development is a huge topic in this area. There's a shortage of lands and lots. There isn't affordable housing came up in terms of making sure there's incentives for that. Do we have enough affordable housing? Should be zoning and tries to weigh an opportunity to make that happen more in the city. Do we want to look at regulating short-term residential rentals more than what we are today? The vacation by rental owner or Airbnb, a lot of people have heard of those. Do we want to have accessory dwelling units occur in the city? Converting homes into duplexes is a common question that city staff get. We're also going to be looking at all of our existing zoning districts and all of our existing overlay districts and find out if they're working appropriately. An example is our housing today. For you, there's 3 zones, R1, well, there's 4, R1, R2, R160, and R4. Anything more than a twindo or a duplex requires multifamily zoning, and you could do a 3-plex or you could do a 50-unit building. There's absolutely no distinction. Do we need more categories in there where maybe a 3 to 5 unit would be more appropriate in a residential setting where you can kind of tuck it into the neighborhood? So these are different questions that we're going to be going through. Evaluating residential green space requirements, parking concerns is downtown experiences, evaluating all of our parking requirements. Our parking requirements were set in 1969 and they haven't really changed. A lot of things have changed since then. So we want to make sure that we are parking appropriately. A lot of our bigger box areas have more parking than we need. So are there opportunities to create more outlot development in some of those large parking pads, for example, that you would see on Black Friday that aren't necessarily as filled as they were 5-10 years ago, due to different ways that people shop and engage with retail. We had questions regarding lighting, food trucks, urban farming, and then looking again more tightly at our districts, such as our P1 district, where anytime you add a structure, you need a conditional use permit. Is that a good rule, or is that something that could change? And there was also comments regarding ways that the city could promote community beautification. So we wanted to take all the comments that we heard and put them together. In addition to this, our legal counsel has done a complete review of our zoning code and checked every state statute reference. Some of the acts and legislative bodies are more than 50 years old, and they've been repealed and our code never updated. So there's a lot of work that we have to do to this code to bring it in line with current state statutes and to get rid of all of the unnecessary acts that it refers to and things that just don't exist anymore. There's names to state departments 3 years that have changed their names 3 times since then. The code just never got updated in that way. So we're gonna be, as stated, looking at all of our zoning districts and all of those uses, and then looking at our map. So our map will likely change, but in the same token, as our zoning code is the enforcer of our comprehensive plan, we wanna make sure our future land use plan and our zoning ordinance match. And they don't necessarily do that today. So we're gonna probably be looking at doing some rezoning as part of this process. What else? The intent is that the consultants would attend our neighborhood plan commission meeting. As a reminder, it's November 27th, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So it'll likely be a hefty meeting with lots of applications, in addition to our consultants coming here and giving you more of an update on the things that they've been working and what they've been seeing, and give you more feedback on what it is they're intending to change. So they are going through every page of the code and looking at how we can reorganize it, what things are glaring to them, and how we can make better improvements to truly make this code what Onalaska wants it to be. So,
Okay, thank you, Katie. There's no action required there, so. Item 7, review and consideration of invoice number 018-021-5, Oisington Kegler Group, Inc., for UDC zoning ordinance rewrite project. Katie?
the invoice is in the amount of $845.
Make a motion to approve the invoice number 018-021-5 for HKGI in the amount of $845.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Alder Banash, seconded by Commissioner Knott to approve invoice number 018-021-5 for HKGI in the amount of $845, excuse me. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? So moved.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Brightspecker, seconded by Commissioner Gleason to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. So moved. We stand adjourned at 7:32. Thank you, everybody.